Welcome back, everybody. I brought some Plant Allies. Seed is a company that I've been using for a really long time. I actually found that one of the best products that's been out there next to it's the Ombre brand. Now when you get onto their website, they have where you can take stool samples and stuff. This one explodes in the smaller intestine, and I started to notice a big difference. Seed is about, I don't know, I think it's about 50 bucks. This is about 40, and I have to do both of them along with using the kombucha to really make a big difference. Another of my favorite is the holy basil, and this one's a good brand. I found that they have a lot of really good prices on their herbs compared to a lot of other companies, and it's the Himalayan company, and they've been around since the 1930s. This one says take 1 capsule twice a day. I take 2 at night, and it helps my body relax and calm down, and I get some really good sleep without having to do too much of the kratom, which is another one I really like. My chiropractor told me about that. Now, I had to dream about an 8-foot tall aloe vera leaf standing there in the desert and looking at this beautiful plant that was coming up. I will peel this, and I'm going to use it for skincare. You can eat this and stuff. It's kind of bitter, but you know, if your body's really needing the aloe vera. This was like a $3, piece. Then I found out about the purple potatoes. So I brought them in because you're probably a visual like I am. There's the purple passion. These are bite-sized potatoes. I just boil them up and eat them. These are actually sprouting, so I'm going to probably plant them. I planted some last year on some other, so these have been triple washed. And then there's another brand that I found over at, and these are all at Sprouts for $3.50. And this helps with the C word. And this one's the Melissa. These are called Dutch Blue. And they have a little bit of a grainy texture, but these do too. And you're just going to change your regular potato out, which is probably harming you. I found out that I'm actually allergic to white potatoes and the orange potato and the golden Yukon, all of them, all the normal stuff. But the blue ones here and these, I don't have an allergic reaction at all, which normally happens within seconds with my body. I start sneezing and doing some other things. One of my favorite ones, which I'm going to get ready to make some really cool stuff, are these organic Japanese. And this is what the package looks like. These are really, really sweet. You think ours are sweet? These are really, really wonderful. And I paid, I think, $4.50 or $4.95 or something like that. But you get 3 pounds of sweet potatoes. I just boil them up in water. You could probably bake them if you wanted to give it more of a deeper flavor if you want. I don't eat these with butter or anything or salt. I just eat them up because I'm kind of using them in a way of going, hey, this is going to get rid of any type of C cells that I have in my system, may it be the breast or the colon or any of that type of thing, because I've gone through a lot of betrayal in my life and stuff. Being an empath, unfortunately, I have a tendency to attract a lot of shadow, and ended up having to do a lot of shadow work over the years and stuff. But these are the things that I like to use on a daily basis. This is the Ombre company. They do have all kinds. They'll make it specifically for you, and they'll tell you what you kind of need. And then the food, it'll be up on their app. The Himalayan is the holy basil. And then the Seed company, SEED. And this has got a particular type of probiotic. It opens up in the large intestine. My cats and animals love this one because it's sweet. So I add it to their food. I have one cat that will actually beg for it because he knows his tummy feels better afterward. And this actually saved my dog's life. When I went to California, I had taken my puppy down to go see its siblings and stuff, and there was doggies that had passed, little puppies, and they had parvo. Even though she had her first shot, she still got it. But I started feeding her this when we were on our trip in California near the San Diego area, and I just kept feeding this to her over and over and over because she wouldn't eat. And the doctor said it saved her life, that I was, utilizing this, because I'm an animal lover. I don't have kids because in our family, miscarriages happen more frequently than having babies. So that's part of the stuff. Another one that's really good is castor oil, and then I think I have some broccoli sprouts in here, but castor oil has a lot of estrogen. I've been using it on my belly button for the last couple of years. I have had some really weird dry eyes, and so I started putting it on my eyelashes, and my eyes create this kind of a weird crust, and then it goes away. And I do some of the drops and stuff. Sustain is one of the better ones, but there's some other companies that are out there. And then there's the pomegranate. That could be really good for sunspots and stuff like that. I've been using, I do microneedling, but I'm allowed to do that because I'm a licensed esthetician, along with many other things that I know how to do. I actually got one of the most really interesting licenses over the years, and it was one of the most usefulest license that I ever received in all of my career stuff, and that was learning how to do the laser treatments on the skin. Microneedling is a lot better on your skin. It takes a month on the other. If you do microneedling, you see results within 5 days because you're going in with the needles that actually cut deep into the skin. And then there's the Korean product line that I really love. And that one does a deep exfoliation with a really neat pink gel that you put over your face and stuff. Just don't let your cats lick it. Mine tried to do it on my face the other day. But it gets on there with a deep exfoliating. It feels like glass. So, it's not a nice, pleasant thing. You put it on yours and go to sleep. And sleep with it all night. Once you rinse it off, your skin gets really nice and clean. And so when you start to understand that there are kind of natural remedies that empower us as women, we're going to get rid of that stinky smell down there with the fishy smell. If you have that, a lot of times there's a small infection kind of going on and we don't realize it. We just are. I have a bidet, and I've been talking about bidet since COVID. Because right before COVID, I was working at one of the spas here in town, and I started having a lot of yeast infections and bladder infections, and I was going back and forth. It was really weird, and that's unusual for me. And so I'm sitting here going, what the hell is going on? So I was working at that particular spa in town, and I thought I was going to be able to use my laser license there. I ended up spending over $10,000 on that license for the person I initially had done it for down in Sedona, to get myself doing something a little bit more empowering for women in a different way. But he couldn't do it. He couldn't make it pan out on what he wanted to do. So I ended up getting work up here. But COVID hit, and that changed everything. And because of the toilet paper shortage, I thought, I'm going to go find another way of, keeping myself clean down here. And if I just need to wipe every once in a while with a dry paper, then I'll do that, because it's a hell of a lot easier. I haven't had any problems with my any type of infection, because I was getting them so much. I was going into the stores that are up here that have like a little urgent care type of thing, and I was doing stuff over the phone because you couldn't go into any place and stuff, but I was having these infections that were going on. It was really odd. And so I had gotten COVID. I had gotten COVID right at the beginning of December. And I got really sick and I was working on people and I was very contagious. And everybody thought it was kind of funny because I had found out that when it first started, I had pink eye. And the doctor's like, well, you work around poop? You know, you got poop in your eye or something. And I said, well, I do, you know, Brazilian waxing and all kinds of stuff that way. But I'm wearing gloves and I have glasses and stuff on. And but that was actually the first case of COVID that went through. They go, you're really ill and you have a low fever, versus I was so cold. And the only thing that kept me going during that weird ass time, COVID was 3 months later, they laid everybody off. And she laid off everybody much earlier than the majority of the people. She seemed to have some sort of in the know information about it. And I thought that was kind of interesting. So here I am, you know, trying to figure this out. And when I went to the doctor, they were like, you know, you shouldn't have been working. And I was like, well, you know, I didn't realize I was that contagious and not understanding and feeling like you already had had COVID, not knowing that that's what they weren't calling it. But it was already running through the states in December because a lot of people were getting sick. And after all of the things that I went through, I decided that I was going to get that boudet. And I started talking to people. I was working, after that 1 year that I took off, I started working for a company that sold epoxy. Because I was doing that artwork, I was expecting to kind of going over, like with that painting behind me is one of my paintings right there. The girl in the back there, see her? That's my type of work, the divine female in woman, empowerment. That one's part of the Jaguar series. She's got a part of her ancestral stuff. But anyway, getting back to what I was talking about, finding out that the boudet was a huge difference, and I didn't have to worry about the toilet paper shortage, and we were picking up toilet paper for people because we could get that, and then if I couldn't get it, we were going back and forth. So it was blue, some sort of, I think it was bluebird, cornmeal and stuff, or no, bluebird flour, and because we have friends that are native and we were able to pick up. So I would go into the store and pick up stuff, and then he would go back in, and we were kind of going back and forth, and we would be able to get 4 of them because you can get 2 at a piece at a time. And nobody wants to really talk about that. You know, COVID was brought into our country. We were in lockdown. You know, there was a lot of things that were going on. I always felt it was part of our ascension that was happening, keep us quiet, keep us locked in our houses and stuff. But they were doing stuff because I found, well, anyway, going back to these, nature has remedies for us to empower ourselves. So I did my own natural stuff, along with some antibiotics and some other things they had given me. But because of the antibiotics and all of that type of thing, I always have to do some stuff. And I was hitting stuff with the seed really hard. So I was keeping that bacteria in my tummy because they killed that off kind of when I was in my younger years. And that has tendency to destroy our gut biome. And we don't have a lot of fermented food. We're not big kimchi eaters. We don't like this, you know, a lot of people think it's too hot. They don't make pickles like that. They don't do fermentation anymore. And so I had gone to the Optimum Health Institute years back for an H. pylori problem that I had, which is what we call ulcers. And I had gone there, met a lot of people that had been dying of types of cancer. I had met one lady who was an actual ballet dancer, and she was absolutely the most beautiful person, and she came in fully wheelchaired. She had, her arms were plastic all the way up to here on both sides, and her legs, and she wasn't able to, you know, do anything. Basically, she was wheelchair bound. By the time she left the center, which was, she was on a 3-week program, which was what I did years ago. They taught us about fermentation, sprouting our foods, and all of these things. And so I was doing these things for myself. I would share that with customers or, clients of mine if they were really ill, but depending on what they wanted to do, because most of the time when you're at that point, you want to do the Dr. Schultz's stuff, or you're going to go to the Optimum Health Institute. Well, by the time she left the place, she was dancing across the lawn, and a lot of the women got rid of the fishy smell down there and started to heal in different ways. Now, my H. pylori didn't go away, and I have found out that I needed capsicum, garlic, and something else to start killing that H. pylori. I did eventually finally kill it properly and stuff, and I haven't had any stomach problems, but I do think I have leaky gut in my large intestine on the left-hand side. That's why I wanted to go in and get a colonoscopy this year to see if there was kind of something else sinister kind of happening. And then they told me that I had the breast cancer, which I showed you the paperwork yesterday, but just in case, that's the radiology information on the CAD machine and everything. And I kind of read it yesterday. So I'm hoping that you guys will start to come here. I've got a lot of information. I've got a lot in this cute little brain of mine, and I've been wanting to help people in a different capacity. We're going to become the purple revolution. So the purple energies, the ultraviolet lights, the breathing techniques that I've been teaching everybody, which the links are down below. I finally found a platform after a couple of struggles and weirdnesses that I can start doing that, and I can start having a community with it, and just taking the leap of faith that you guys are looking for a community with sensitives, people that are empaths, and people that want just to get some interesting guidance from a place of true love and health and reclaiming women's powers, because we are going to have our health care taken away here in the States, and it's already beginning to happen. They've got the government is still shut down. So then people aren't going to be getting their SNAP checks and all of these things, that they're going to wait until another 6 months to a year, and then things will start to really kick in. And then at that point, it's all a gameplay, unfortunately, but we're all paying for it here, and it's not cool. I've been looking for a way to empower the women, and I finally knew that was going to be the breath work and talking to you guys about food and things like that. I'm still learning myself. I'm still going through things. I found out about castor oil a couple of years ago and been using it on my skin. My eyebrows, I was putting it on my scalp and on the back to help my hair growth, because I have a thyroid problem that was making my hair fall out and do all these crazy things. And a lot of times I have snoring, and some people are like, it's sleep apnea, and it's like my throat is swollen. So when I start doing a colloidal iodine that I get from somebody, there's only one person in the whole United States that sells it, and I got the key at the door on that one. So I'm going to be ordering that for everybody. So if you want some iodine, because our doctors are afraid of, and our bodies need the iodine, and having the iodized salt, you're better off doing another company and stuff. Don't use the other company. The regular table salt isn't good for us. It'll raise your blood pressure and all that type of stuff. All right, guys, do me a favor. Like and share and comment. Since I've made some big changes on the backside of YouTube, hopefully it'll go, because I had it on my artwork from beforehand, so I've changed it to the temple codes, and we'll see if that makes a big change, and that they start getting my information out in a really big way. All right, guys, have a blessed day, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. Tomorrow will be about the breath work on fear, and then the purple revolution will be the next day. And all right, guys, do me a favor, like, subscribe, do a little comment, I don't want to be in fear anymore. I want to be in a place of empowerment, right? Empowerment, the word empowerment. All right, guys, have a good afternoon. Bye.